everyone. I'm Thomas from Bitcher. I'm going to talk about really quick 3 things that you guys can do. I think every miner should know if they don't already about how to mitigate risk and enhance your uptimes and ideally make your mining operations more insurable. So if I can get this to work. Oh, there we go. So a little bit about me, just so you understand my background. I've been in insurance for about 15 years. Started off as a wholesale insurance broker, international risk markets, Bermuda, Lloyd's, London. Worked with tech startups all the way up to Fortune 500 companies. And then in 2016, got involved in crypto. Started buying Bitcoin passively like everybody else, easy on-ramp. And then in 2019, started mining with my partner. And that's really when we decided to kind of go into the Bitcher route to build out insurance products for the mining space that it didn't really seem like anybody was focusing on at the time. So that's kind of my little genesis. And then, I'm probably in the way here. So we founded Bitcher in 2021 once we were able to get the actuarial studies off the ground. And the actuarial group we worked with was Milliman, so they did all the Tesla auto insurance products, as well as the SpaceX satellite insurance products. So all of our products are built by the same team that did all those, which is fairly interesting. And the first mining policy that we launched, we got capacity and then went through due diligence through the first half of 2022, launched our products in June of 2022, and have been to market now for a little more than a year. And then presently, we insure about 6% of the mining network globally. That should increase to around 10 to 15% within the next few months. And then we hopefully, by the end of the year, will be around 18% would be my goal. So we're scaling pretty rapidly, but that's been really a testament to our team and what we built out. But through that process, one of the things we did was we partnered with a repair facility to help us on the R&D side to influence our underwriting capabilities as well as risk management for our claims team. And that's really what influences our underwriting process because not only do we mine, but we also really want to understand what we don't know, right? And so the repair facility we partner with is RepairBit. They've been very helpful in that regard, and it's really helped us with our data. So some of the challenges for traditional insurance companies insuring mining equipment is really the uncertainty. So insurance companies really are like, if a bank is essentially like your conservative father, insurance companies are essentially like your really conservative grandfather. So they really don't want to take risk. And if they are going to take risk, they want to make sure that they're within a 1 to 2% margin of error to figure out how close they are to paying a loss and how profitable they're going to be. Well, that thesis or that model doesn't really jive with a nascent industry like crypto mining, mainly because there's just no data out there. It's too young. The sample size is very small. So we have to work with the data that's available, which is very minimal, and a lot of it is essentially guesswork. The other problem is that a lot of the insurance companies out there, they don't understand how to accurately estimate the replacement costs of the machines. They don't understand the economics of mining. They don't understand the operation. And they also don't understand how miners really make money and where the pain points are in the industry, which is really, when you think about, synergistically, the ties between an insurance company and the clients that they're insuring, you want to understand where you can align incentives. And if you don't know how to do that, you're really not going to be able to evaluate the risk properly. So we think we have a pretty good handle on that. And then thirdly, it's really, there's this conflation right now between the insurance space. When they think about crypto, they think, Bitcoin mining and crypto like FTX, Three Arrows and all those negative headwinds and headlines that we see. They think they're all related. And, we understand very succinctly that obviously there's Bitcoin and there's crypto. There's a big difference there. And, we mine, so we're big stakeholders in this industry. So we figure, while everybody's running away from the actual risk or the problems at hand, we're seeking to build out further solutions to help, drive adoption in our space and really enhance the experience for miners as well. So for us, though, really we drive our solutions from a ton of firsthand experience in terms of just mining, scaling those mining operations, working hand in hand with repair facilities to understand exactly the new models and makes, pain points therein, and then we drive all that through our risk assessment and our underwriting capabilities, which we think will produce pretty good profits for us, but then also a really good experience for the clients because we understand what we're underwriting and we can pay claims fast. So when we look at an average mining operation, I mean, I would say roughly 50 to 65%. They're all in containerized data center solutions, whether it's ambient air or liquid immersion. And then the other balance of the percentages in warehouse or buildings, stuff like that. So the biggest issue that we see though is really not like when you think of a fire, it typically doesn't happen on a per unit basis. All the computers and the ASICs, they typically come with firmware on them that automatically shuts the computers off once they hit a certain percentage, it's around 185 degrees Fahrenheit. But where we see a pain point is really when there's a fire that occurs, it's usually electrical in nature. And generally speaking, that's tied to an electrical contractor that wasn't really well versed in the power load, or maybe they used the wrong cables. But that's usually where we see the biggest issue. And so one of the ways to mitigate that against really the third-party contractors issue and negligence is if we can get a surge protector, or, and that's really basically from all phases of where the power is coming in. So if you have some sort of surge governor on the actual container or in the building from the transformer to the actual switch gears, and then if you've got on the miner side, if you've got surge protectors for all the miners as well, for where they plug in and everything else. I mean, that's really a good way to mitigate very basically and very cheaply the biggest risk from a fire perspective. And again, it's more electrical in nature than anything else. If you do that, number one, you have greater peace of mind because it's less likely to have a fire, so you have better uptimes. The fire risk is minimal, so it's a better enhanced risk for us on the underwriting side, which means that your premiums are going to be lower as well. And we give credits for all these things too, so anything I'm talking about right now, these will actually influence the pricing for any insurance product that we offer in the market. The second thing that you can have really and this is more about maintaining uptimes, but also reducing breakdown times, fire risk, as well as I would say other breakdown failures such as like heat sinks coming dislodged, all that kind of stuff. And this really applies to the ambient air solutions or of cooling solutions. It's the monthly maintenance of the fleet, right? So it's not really reasonable to say that you could take 100% of your rigs and then have them, go to a repair facility and just have them cleaned, and that would take probably a few weeks, right? And that's lost profit. But if you have a plan where you're saying, hey, every month we're going to take 10 to 15% of our fleet, and we're going to send them out very basic repairs. We're going to clean them out. That whole process, you've identified a partner, takes like 4 or 5 days. That actually is going to increase your uptimes to the tune of roughly 18 to 20% on average for your fleet, depending on the make and model and rig that you're running. We got all that data from the R&D department of repair that we're working with, and it's a really good way for us to say, hey, when we're underwriting the risk, do you have, a maintenance contract in place for your fleet? If you do, we view that again as an enhanced risk parameter that you're instilling into your operations, and again that reduces the premium as well. Plus, it's probably going to net you higher uptimes, longevity of the computers, and useful life of the computers, as well as better profits. So it's again a win-win. And then our recommendation on the maintenance side is RepairBit. We use them for all the claim and salvage stuff. So anytime we pay a claim, we pay the claim, but then the salvage and the computers themselves come onto our balance sheet. And so in an effort to gain liquidity and then make sure that we're understanding what happened in this scenario and how can we mitigate risk further later, and how can we apply it to our current clients, and how can we enhance that experience and make ourselves more profitable too, they help us in all that stuff. But they're excellent. They're pretty big, based out of Cleveland. So if you haven't heard of them, probably reach out. They're pretty solid. And then the third thing is really, the first two kind of really apply to the ambient air cooled solution. So I wanted to touch on something with liquid immersion. This is really something you can do with liquid immersion that's quite nice, is you can underclock the ASICs. Everybody thinks of like liquid immersion, it's like, oh, let's overclock them, and you can certainly do that. Sometimes you can do it 40, 80% above the manufacturer's specs. But when you underclock them, something interesting really happens. So number one, you get enhanced efficiency because the joules per terahash actually goes down, right? So you're not really redlining the machine to its full capacity or above that. And when you're underclocking it, you're actually using less joules per terahash. So your margins, while you're not using as much hash rate, your margins are actually much better. So you're actually more profitable most of the time when you underclock. And obviously this depends on makes and models. But number one, that's great because it aligns your incentives. Like when you're underclocking, you're more profitable. Number two, you're enhancing the longevity and the useful life of the computer. But then number three, you're also reducing the power costs that you're incurring, and then that's reducing the fire risk for us because dielectric fluid is indeed a flammable liquid. So those are the three things that I just wanted to touch on. Hope everyone learned something. If you guys have anything else that you want to talk to us about, we're in the cigar lounge. Happy to talk to you about anything regards to your operations, insurance, or risk management, and would love to be a resource for everybody. Thank you.